Splooshim and Abod, everybody. We want to welcome you all to our first annual JSOR bug checking course specifically for Rosh Hashanah. We have today 4 of the common things that I use on Rosh Hashanah as far as the simanim go, and we're going to discuss how to check and clean them effectively. First of all, we have the dates. We also have our black-eyed peas. We have our leek, and we have our Swiss chard, which again we're going to describe how to clean and check it. Dates. All international dates need to be checked individually one by one. The method on how we're going to check those dates is as follows. We're going to take our date, you're going to cut it halfway up to the pit, you're going to open it up, and you can remove the pit, inspect the inside of the date. As long as there's no bugs in there, then you are good to go. The bugs that you would see, if there were to be bugs, are very noticeable, hard to miss. You'll understand it, you'll see it. It does not look like the regular insides of a date. But that's what needs to be done for all the dates that come from international. Every single date needs to be checked individually. For American dates, we only have to check a handful of dates that come from that batch just to ensure there's no infestation. And once we know that there's no infestation, you can eat the rest of them. All dates coming from Eretz Israel need to have a proper hechsher in order to make sure that the terumot ma'asot were taken and therefore would be permitted to eat. Black-eyed peas. So black-eyed peas need to be inspected to make sure there's no obvious signs of infestation. So for the frozen black-eyed peas, we're going to be looking and inspecting to make sure that there's no obvious signs of infestation. Any holes that would contain bugs. The general black-eyed pea does contain the black eye on the top. That is not a bug. That's a naturally growing part of the bean, and therefore that's not a problem. But what we're inspecting for and we're looking for would be something that looks like this. Black-eyed peas that have a hole, and you can tell from the missing parts and the missing chunks of the black-eyed pea. Here is the black eye part, but on the reverse side you'll see that hole. You can see them on different parts of the bean where there's bug activity or other bugs that have eaten away or taken bites of the bean. That's definitely something we want to avoid. We don't know if there's a bug still inside or not, if the worms are still inside. So therefore, this is what we're actually looking for when we inspect the black-eyed peas for any kind of bugs. Now, if your black-eyed peas do happen to have some brown flecks or something like that, that does not necessarily mean it's the indication of a bug. You got to just check and see if there's holes or not. But that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. What we do for black-eyed peas is go through a handful or two, make sure that we don't have any obvious signs of infestation. If the handful or two that we inspect all look okay, then the rest of the bag may be eaten and it is okay. This one that I'm inspecting right here is frozen black-eyed peas, and Baruch Hashem, it looks to be pretty much okay. We're just going to inspect another little quick handful here, but overall it's looking pretty good. Okay, now here we have some canned cooked black-eyed peas, obviously with a hechsher, and again we're going to take a little handful and inspect for any obvious bug damage or any presence of bugs. And once we take a few handfuls and give it a cursory glance, we see that there's nothing really going on here, so that would be good. Our trials this year have shown that the frozen and the jars are definitely much better than the dried black-eyed peas, and we would definitely recommend starting with those. Okay, at this stage we see that there's pretty much no bug activity on here, so that would be okay. Again, you can look through it yourself, the rest of the bag if you'd like, and just take a cursory glance and just make sure. But generally speaking, if it's clean and this amount of, let's say, a small jar is clean, then you know the rest should be okay to go. We would recommend not using the dried black-eyed peas. It seems to be much more infested, and I would recommend that you check, if you're using the dried black-eyed peas, check every single one. The method on that would be to soak it first and then to inspect it after it's been totally soaked for a few hours. Leek. So leek is a very easy thing to process and clean. The first step is we're going to inspect the leaves, especially the tops, for any leaf miner activity. A leaf miner is a bug that will go inside the actual leaf and it will create a zigzaggy winding pattern within. That winding pattern turns white as it eats the photosynthesis, and therefore it's very easy to spot a windy white pattern that will be on the leaf. If we do have one leaf miner, then we remove that leaf. After that, we take the leaves and we just cut the tops off, and we cut off the bottom, We'll cut it into half. Our goal is to now cut it lengthwise so that we'll be able to separate the leaves and rinse them thoroughly. Now we'll put that in a bowl, and we'll take that to the sink and begin to rinse and clean it. You can optionally add a little bit of soap in, and then just rinse it off with some water. Agitate it well, separate all the leaves, and all the dirt and any possible bugs that may have been there will basically slide off. Just make sure to separate those leaves like we're doing here. Now we can just keep on rinsing it off for a minute or two until we get rid of that soap and whatever other dirt might be on there. Okay, and at this stage our leek is clean and usable for the holiday or for any time. Swiss chard. Okay, so Swiss chard is going to be a little bit more complex than what we've done so far. First thing we have to do is open the package. Just to make life easier, what we're going to do is cut off the basic stems. You can put that in there or put it on the side. And now we have all our leaves separated. What we're going to do, just as a walkthrough quickly, is we're going to treat this the same way we clean and check romaine. First step is we're going to take these leaves, we're going to mix it in soapy water, agitate it very well. We're going to rinse each leaf off under running water, front and back. Let the water go on all the surfaces of the leaf. And we're going to put those leaves aside. Afterwards, we're going to take all those leaves, put water to cover that, and we're going to pour it through a double colander with a sandwiching a thrip cloth. We're going to inspect that thick thrip cloth on a light box. And if that comes out okay with no bugs, then we'll know that our Swiss chard is good to eat. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take soap, and we're going to put some in our hand, about a teaspoon, and we're going to dissolve that into running water. Get the water to cover, and we're going to agitate it. Make sure there's enough water that the leaves can move around sufficiently. And we're going to take that, agitate it for a few seconds, and after it's well agitated, we're going to take it and we're going to rinse leaf by leaf under running water. So we're going to take our bowl of Swiss chard and we're going to put it on the side with our soapy water. We're going to take each individual leaf and we're going to rinse each side under running water. When we're finished, we're going to take it and put it into this bowl on the side. So we're going to be thorough. We're going to try to catch each surface of the leaf. Now as soon as this is done, we're going to take all our remaining stems, you rinse it under the water, and we can take it all, put it on the side, and we'll do a test on everything together. We're going to rinse it off just to make sure we don't have any other soap or anything like that. And we're going to spill that out. Now we're going to take a test of our Swiss chard to make sure that it is clean. So we're going to take the Swiss chard, fill it up with water to cover. Now we're going to agitate it, move it around, mix it around very well. And as soon as we've done that, we're going to take our double colander. We're going to have a thrip cloth, that is a 230 mesh cloth, and we're going to put it on in between our colanders. We're going to pour that water through our double colander. And we're going to take our colander carefully by taking all four corners, and we're going to take that to our light box. Put it on the light box and inspect it. We're going to take a loop, we're going to use it if we need it, and we're going to inspect every part of it that needs to be inspected. Of course, if there's nothing to look at, there's nothing to talk about, and you don't need to inspect the entire sheet with a loop, Only the parts that you think may or may not be a bug. But as we're inspecting over here, Baruch Hashem was cleaned very well, and there's really not much to look at. And this is good, Baruch Hashem. So Baruch Hashem, after following these steps, we have our clean Swiss chard, our clean leek, our dates, and our black eyed peas. On behalf of JSOR and all the Rabbanim, we want to wish you Tishkul Hashim Labot, Imot Tovot, and a wonderful new year.